Good day, viewers. Today I'll be taking you guys through graphical works, and as you can see there, we have the graph of quadratic equation, histogram, and cumulative frequency to work on. The first I'll be taking you guys on will be that of cumulative frequency, and as you can see, we have a question there, the question, and at the right hand side I've just highlighted there you are given the class class limit and the frequency. Then on the right hand side we're having the same thing I copied. We copy the mark, we have the class mark, which is also the class limit and also the frequency. These are the only two things we're given, and I've highlighted the left hand side. So the first class mark we have 1 to 10, and we have the frequency of it to be what? To be 2. Then there we copy the frequency and the mark. We have our first class mark to be 1. Then from 1 subtract 0.5, you have 0.5. That is our lower class boundary. Then from the upper class, add, which is 10, add 0.5, you have 10.5 as our upper class boundary. So the same thing is done for the other classes. We have the other classes like 11. Also subtract 0.5, you get 10.5, and from, in 20, add 0.5, you get 20.5. The same thing, 21, subtract 0.5, you get 20.5. Same thing as 20. On and on, you keep on doing that. That is 21, subtract 0.5, you get 20.5, and from 30, add 0.5, you get 30.5. On and on, you do the same thing. Done with our class boundary. The next thing we move on to is cumulative frequency. The first frequency we give, I've explained this in the previous video. We had the first frequency to be 2, and we copied it, and then to 2 add 3, you get 5. To 5 add 5, the next class we have 10. To 10 add 13, you get 23. To 13 add 19, you get 42. On and on you go. 73 add 13, you get 86. 86 add 9, you get 95. And 95 add 4, you get 90. 94 add 1, you get 100, which is the last cumulative frequency. Now we'll get to our graph work. You will first of all draw the vertical line, which represents the class, the cumulative frequency, and the horizontal, which is what the class boundary, upper class boundary. So we have 10.5. The first class, the first place is labeled 0. So after that we have 10.5, 20.5, 30.5. We have a 40.5, we have a 50.5, we have 60.5, we have 70.5, we have 80.5, we have 90.5. And then on our horizontal axis we have 10 centimeter to 10 units. Then on our vertical axis we are going to be counting in 10 also. So you can starting with 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. The next thing is plot the graph of your cumulative frequency against class boundary. We have cumulative frequency of 2 against 10.5 class boundary, and we have cumulative frequency of 5 against 20.5 class boundary. On and on, you graph your work. As soon as you're done with locating all those points, then you should be able to join them using a flexible material. Like you can see, I'm using the ink container of a pen. You can as well use a French curve or use a soft broom to do this. So by the time you'll be done joining all the points together, you have been able to obtain your OGIF curve or your cumulative frequency curve. Then after that, you can be asked to determine a particular position, the percentage of the mark, or the median. If you are being asked to look for the median, in this case you divide 100 by 100, and you look for that means the answer will be, you divide 100 by 2 and you obtain 50. So you locate the 50 on the vertical axis and trace it to the horizontal axis. That is the class mark. Whatever you see, you obtain as the answer. In this case, we are to find the 60th percentile, so we'll divide 60 by 100 and multiply by 100. From this, you will obtain 60. Then on obtaining 60, we'll go to the graph and then locate where we can find, that's a 6. We'll trace 60 to the curve and trace it down to the class boundary. When we trace 60 to the curve and tracing to the class boundary, we'll be able to locate a position of we'll be able to locate on the class boundary a position of 56 approximately, so as a 60th percentile. Thank you. The next thing is histogram. From our table in the previous video, I've also treated how to obtain our frequency in a grouped data. So the first, we have class boundaries were already given to us, so we don't have to pass through the stress of getting class boundaries upper and lower. So the tally system is all we are expected to do. As you can see, for the first class boundary, we have two numbers which fall into this category, like I've marked there. And in the tally system, since we have two numbers, we'll just draw two strokes to represent it. So that is we have two numbers, the frequency is 2. Then for the second class, we have three numbers. These are the three numbers. Then the tally will be 3 strokes. Then we write the frequency as 3. Then you should be able to obtain the frequency for the others. After that, we'll move on to draw our histogram. The difference between histogram and bar chart is that bar chart has spaces in between them. Histogram doesn't have space, and in all, both histogram and bar charts have their graphs, so the width of their bars to be equal. So now we draw the height of the bars corresponding to the frequency given there. So for the first frequency, we have 2, and the class boundary 59 to 59.5 to 64.5, we have a frequency of 2. So draw a bar of length 2, that's a 2. Then for the next class, 64.5 to 69.5, we'll draw a bar of 3 in length. Do this for the remaining. Then locate the height of the highest bar and just do as I've done. Trace it to the neighboring bars, that is the bars that is to the left of it and the one that is to the right of it, and draw a line just as I've drawn diagonally. Then locate the intersection of this line, that is the modal mark. Thanks. For the quadratic equation, we have the equation to be y is equals to 3x squared minus 5x minus 7. So we can input our values of x as minus 3, minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So when the value of our x is minus 3, we have 35. And when the value of our x is minus 2, we can have y is equal to, we are going to be having 3 into bracket minus 2 all squared, then minus 5 into bracket minus 2 minus 7. When we tap our calculator, we'll have we'll have y to be equals to 15. Same thing applies for other figures of minus 1, as you can see 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4.